Britain fear these radical fighters returning from Syria and Iraq. Well, with me now is the journalist Sakhr Al-Makhadhi, who frequently travels to the region, and also Tunji Salami from the I Submit Foundation, which tackles religious extremism, joins us from central London. Tunji, to you first. We heard about the motivations of this young man. This young man isn't a fighter, he's just an aid worker out there. Clearly, these feelings do run very deeply. Should we be concerned about young men such as him returning to the UK?
We should be concerned, and our concern should be in two folds. On one side, we should be concerned if they return to this country with religious extreme ideas that they can preach to young British men and women. We should be concerned. We should be concerned if they are going to be returning to this country to continue that brainwashing thing of recruiting more people into doing the same atrocities which they are doing at the moment. We should be concerned. On the other side, if they are returning as a citizen of this country and the environment, especially the Muslim community and the government of this country, we are ready to help rehabilitate these people, like the program that I work on, like rewashing the brainwash, we call it. I think it might be a good opportunity for us to bring these guys back on the right track.
Let's bring in Sakhr Al-Makhadhi here in the studio. I mean, you feel slightly differently, don't you? I mean, what is the concern about these young men coming back? Are they really an issue?
Well, I'm worried that there is too much focus on the young kids and not enough focus on the people who are doing the brainwashing, many of whom are based in the UK, many of whom are religious experts. They're preaching in universities, in mosques, and they're the ones we should be looking at and questioning, the ones who stay behind, not the vulnerable kids who are sent abroad. And also I'm worried that, you know, there's too much focus on the kids who are travelling abroad to travel on this global jihad holiday to Iraq or Syria. You know, the kids who are travelling there and coming back, attacks that have happened in the UK haven't required any specialist military training. The Woolwich attack, the 7/7 attacks, these were very primitive, homegrown, home-based, homemade attacks that don't require any kind of specialist military training. So I don't think that the kids going over there and coming back are going to bring back any additional threat that the kids here would already not pose.
What about this brainwashing, the fact that these young men are being radicalised? Now, we've heard from the mother of one of these young men that's in the latest video from ISIS. She believes he's been brainwashed. She thinks it's happened out there in Syria. I mean, what's your best guess? Is it happening at home, or is it happening when they get out there?
The issue of religious extremism, brainwashing can happen anywhere, especially in this age where we live in. It doesn't necessarily have to be within the Muslim community. It can be anywhere, especially on the internet, where most of these young guys are listening to many of the imams, the so-called imams, you know, and these guys are the people telling them about the concept of jihad. And they are mixing a lot of religious concept up in their heads. Look at this young guy, he's a 20-year-old guy, a medical student who has a very good future in his front, and the parents are proud of him. The parent did not know what is been going on his head. The parent did not know where he's been going. The parent did not know whether he's been listening to some tapes that are dangerous. They did not know. And that's why it came as a surprise to them. The same case is the case of many Muslim parents in this country at the moment, which some of them I know and I work directly with, and some of my team do. They do not know who is dangerous, who is not dangerous. Our idea is to let us all as a community, especially our government, to take a leadership of how can we create a solution apart from those strategies that we've done before. What solution can we do as a community to help the young Muslim children not falling into the traps of the so-called imams who are jihadists? And there are solutions coming up. There are many examples we can give, all right? There are many situations where we've seen Muslims, young children in the mosque in London, and especially in Birmingham, who have been, invited to workshops, and they've been, interviewed, they've been, had a conversation with, and they're making some changes because it's an ideological problem, not a problem that we have to be scared of. If my son or your son is going through the same thing, we are not going to disown them. I'm not going to disown my son. I'm going to look for a way of getting him back to the right track. And this is the challenge to the Muslim community themselves and also to our government.
And Sakhr, that is the challenge, isn't it? trying to stop these young men being radicalised in the first place. What it does strike me is that they don't realise, it seems, that they are being exploited. And clearly, as Tunde says, these are often educated young men who've been brought up in the UK with a good, solid family background. Why do you think that they don't realise that they are being exploited?
Well, you're right to mention the fact that many of them are educated. A lot of this is happening in universities. These are kids who are avoiding mainstream media. They're choosing to get their news from Twitter, from unorthodox sources. They're polluted with this idea that the West is to blame for all of the faults in the Middle East. And I think that tackling it at that stage, at the stage where they've already, the cause has been imposed on them, they've already heard the bad news and they're looking for a solution to it. At that stage, it's far too late. I think the West needs to look at itself and look at the relationship with the Middle East and find out why these kids are choosing this very violent option, this violent solution to the problem. Look at Syria, for example. They blame, many of the young radicals would blame the lack of Western intervention, the lack of Western solution to the problem. And they say they're filling a void. They say they're travelling out there for that reason. The same with Iraq. They say that Iran is interfering in that country and they're going to clear up the mess. Of course, they're misguided, but the problem starts a lot earlier than the stage at which they're radicalised.
Tunji, it appears to be a problem for the Muslim community. Islam is being used by these groups to try and radicalise these youngsters. Do you think the Muslim community can actually cope with it, or do you think outside intervention is needed to help?
The Muslim community in this country, to be honest, in my own view, they are free from this world of what are the Muslim community doing. For me, I have seen many programs that have been rolled out by the Muslim community themselves. The Muslim community we have in this country, they do not support anything extremism.
They don't support it, but they don't seem to be able to stop it, do they? And that's the crux of the problem. How can they ensure that the message clearly isn't getting to their young men, that this isn't the path to go down?
I think they're doing a lot of work at the moment. I think I've seen a lot of programs being rolled out in many mosques in the country. I have worked with many imams, I've worked with many community leaders, and I'm seeing a lot of changes happening, especially in some areas where we have concerns like, London, where we have some groups like Muajirun and like some other groups who are coming up on the TV. And I've been on this same TV channel to seek the support of the media themselves, not to promote people like that, and to give support to the Muslim community themselves. I think they're doing all they can to ensure that this ideology does not creep into the heads of their kids. And to be honest, I really want to say also that the involvement of our government, especially in our foreign policy, is very important, because we are seeing every day a lot of questions being asked by these people about our foreign policy. I think our foreign policy as a government also play a very important role in how we can help stop this, extremism or this terrorism. All the terms that we're using, they're relative, because to them, they don't believe they're doing something wrong. They believe they're doing something religious. And that is what makes it difficult. If somebody is doing something for religious sake, they are expecting a kind of holy reward from their Lord. And that makes it very difficult.
OK, then we must leave it, I'm afraid. Tunji, we are out of time. But Tunji Salami and Sakhr Al-Makhadhi, thank you both very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.